You're listening to the Robby Row Show. I'm your host, Robbie Rowland. This is episode 60.2 with Raphael Turner. Let's hear a soundbite from Raphael.
We can complicate it all we want, but at the end of the day, if you can't be on time, you'll never be a good hitter.
May I have your attention, please?
You're my heater.
Now listening to Clear the Mechanism.
The Robby Row Show.
The Robby Row Show.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Robby Rowland, on the Robby Row Show. First and foremost, thank you for tuning in. Episode 60, part 2. So, what I like to call it, 60.2. Anyways, Raphael Turner and I continue our ever so epic conversation. What I really like about this, and I wrote this in the show notes, was this particular episode. So, like the entire episode 60, part 1 and 2 was like, it was just really neat because I didn't even tell Raphael before we started recording that I wanted to do like multiple parts. That's kind of like a, finish it and then see where it is. But the flow of the whole podcast in general is really, really good because we start off obviously in part 1 where we really talk about his background, as you guys heard. And if you haven't heard, go check that out, episode 60.1. And then we talk about really the mental aspect behind being a great athlete. Not even just a great baseball player or a hitter or a pitcher, but just being a great athlete. Now, we really do transition in this particular episode into the physical requirements of being athlete, hitter, pitcher, whatever it takes. A couple things that we'll talk about, obviously, within the game today. Data analytics plays a huge part, and I'd like to get different instructors' opinions on that. So we'll dive into that, obviously. We'll talk a little bit about Raphael's opinion on the question, has hitting changed, right? Like we are hearing all this launch angle. We're starting to get away from the swing down on the ball era, all that kind of good stuff. So we'll get his opinion, talk about, like I said, the physical demandments, and then the data analytics and just really what it takes to become like the best possible hitter that you can become. So definitely got a really good just flow, good energy show for you today, obviously carrying over from part 1. At this time, thank a sponsor real quick, Pocket Radar. You guys probably heard me talk a lot about Pocket Radar on my show, even on my Instagram account. Have partnered with them multiple times, and I really just believe in the product. I think that's no secret these days. But anyways, what I could help you guys with if you're interested in a Pocket Radar, and this doesn't just go for pitchers, man. Like I've had multiple hitters come to me wanting a certain discount code just because Pocket Radar makes it so simple now. Like they just sent me the new model, and it's a ball. Gosh, I don't want to ruin it. What is it? Ball. Smart Coach. It's a Smart Coach model. Anyways, you could totally hook it up. Like it comes with you put a tripod on this thing and you hit off a tee, and it makes it so user friendly because you can just be alone, taking some tee hacks. And this is what's so cool. It's got an interface that connects straight to an app. So like if you do a video, it'll show the exit velo on the video. So if you're sitting at the park, man, and you got your tee and you're struggling getting seen by like college recruiters or scouts or whatever it is, and you go to the park and you set up a net and you hook that Pocket Radar up to a tripod with video that has the exit velo on it, and you're putting up exit velos of 100 plus off a tee, throw that right on social media, it blows up. Like next thing you know, you're committed to a college or you're getting drafted. Like it's just little things like that. So obviously that's why I'm so passionate about Pocket Radar. And what I could do for you guys is I can get you a 10% discount. So pocketradar.com, and at checkout, just type in the discount code Robby10, ROBBY 10, Robby10, pocketradar.com. Like I said, I'm a big believer in the Smart Coach. It's got all of the bells and whistles, so make sure you give that a look. But without further ado, let's get to episode 60, part 2 with Raphael Turner. Hope you guys enjoy. Talk to you later. Right now, I want to dive into like the physical requirements and where the game's heading today, and kind of the more physical demanding things of actually hitting. And I want to ask you to start off. Part 2 is: has hitting changed since you were in the game?
No. People like to think that.
Right. That's the hot topic.
Yeah, it's not changed. You know what's changed? the need to sell baseball. That's what's changed. Because we're competing with basketball. We're competing with football.
And we're at the bottom.
We are. We are so far behind. It's crazy. We don't want to change anything. We don't want to change any rules. We don't want, like, it has not changed, right? And so now you got this idea to sell. And so what I mean when I say sell it, we got to sell a different product. And just looking at it from a hitting perspective, you got so many hitting instructors out here, right? So many guys that teach hitting, right? The only way that they can sell their product, which is themselves, is to try to say something different. It's this look at me. It's this look at me mentality. I teach this. This is what my guys learn, and this is why we get these results. But dude, I tell you what, you guys still get in the box, and they still got to be on time.
Yep.
They got to have confidence. They got to be on time. That's really when we look at what it boils down to. Hitting is nothing more than timing. We can complicate it all we want, but at the end of the day, if you can't be on time, you'll never be a good hitter. So most of these hitters, they don't even understand what they're trying to do when they get in the box.
Yeah, approach.
They don't. As a hitter, your number one job is to be on time. That is it. Okay? It's funny because I talk to my kids about this all the time. I even damn near give them the answer right there. Say, as a hitter, what's your job? It's to be on time, right? Yeah, be on time. What is the job of the pitcher? They say, to throw strikes. They say, to strike me out. They say, all this stuff. No, brother. The goal of the pitcher is to disrupt your timing. That is it.
Yeah, which leads to all of that, which leads to getting you out.
Exactly. That's how they win. They don't have to win by striking you out. If you don't reach first base, that is a win for them. Right? We got to get out of this mentality. So what happens is guys talk about launch angle. Guys talk about getting the barrel behind you. Guys talk about barrel tilt. Like all this jargon, right? But as the great John Maxwell would say, hey, my man, the greatest on leadership. If I got to say something more than once, it's because I didn't say it right the first time. Yeah. Because if you couldn't understand it, I didn't say it right.
Yeah. Well, that's taking ownership.
Oh, 100%. And I think a lot of instructors, they look at me and say, Raphael, you good at what you do because I communicate well. I'm a good communicator. That is it. It's not that I'm such a great, it's not that I teach this stuff that nobody knows. People think I don't believe in squashing a bug. I don't care. Yeah, I will call it squashing a bug if it makes sense to the person. I want to get your back foot turned. If that's what makes sense, squash a bug. Okay, squash a bug.
Yeah, it's verbiage, especially when you're dealing with the younger guys, man. That's something I've noticed.
100%. It's communication. That's all it is. So, when I do a lesson with the guy, first thing when they come in, I tell them, look, hit off the tee because I just want to see. And then I ask them, like, what are you trying to do? What were you doing there? And me, right there, I'm establishing the language that they speak.
Yeah.
Okay? So here's what I mean when I say the language that they speak. As a hitter, a lot of my coaches couldn't communicate with me because I didn't speak their language. Here's what I spoke. I spoke home run. So if you didn't speak home run, then we can't have a conversation. Probably until I was a redshirt junior did I figure out how to drive the ball backside. Mm-hmm. Till then, dead pull guy. If I hit it backside, it's gonna slice really hard. I can hit it hard, but it's gonna go, just over that shortstop, right?
Yeah.
So what changed my perspective on hitting and the potential of who I could be as a hitter? Joe Rakuya, he's the head coach over at Raphael University. He had just came in from Alabama not too long ago, and we never had a scoreboard. Did we have a scoreboard? I don't think we had a scoreboard. Or either that or we moved it. I think we probably moved it. We moved our score. I'm a left-handed hitter. We moved our scoreboard to left center field, right? Just behind the left center field wall. And so he had been trying to get me to hit the ball backside all day. Drive it backside. He said, Turner, you're useless. He said, this is what I want you to do. Hit the next ball off the scoreboard in left center field. And that's how I figured out how to drive the baseball backside instead of hitting the baseball backside.
Yeah.
I felt things happen that I never felt before. I had extension that I never had before. And, up until that point in my career, I would tell guys, I tell coaches, like it's the dumbest thing. I work pull side first and opposite and backside last. Because that's how natural hitting came to me.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the guy I can go into the box and look slider. I mean, not even look slider. Look change up.
Yep.
And take you deep off your fastball on the inner half of the plate, right? Because just gifted I was, but from a hitting perspective, mentally I didn't really know the game. But nah, man, hitting hasn't changed. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, you know what that is, man? That's like identifying, though. And I think that's another thing that we could definitely dive into about how that's kind of, especially in the instruction world, you know, we don't really spend a whole lot of time on identifying the individual. And we try to, you know, sometimes we get put into this situation where we're constantly giving the different individuals the same things without understanding, like, okay, this guy does this really well, or like you said, like the way your approach was, right? That's not something a typical coach is going to come in and say, hey, we're going to work pull first and then we're going to go oppo, right? Like that's not something you would say, but it allowed you to be free and it allowed you to get the most out of what you brought to the table. And I think that, you know, especially on the side of the pitching, you know, industry too, is like that's something that we as instructors or coaches, we need to do too, is understand like, okay, what does he do well? Why does he do that well? How can we use the correct verbiage to get the most out of him? I think that's what it is, and you know, it's developing a sense of a relationship, right, with the individual.
Right, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Like I had a new client come in yesterday. Like I try to make things so simple that it's dumb. Right? Like
it should be.
Exactly. And so many guys, they feel like, well, Rob, how do you do this? And you teaching this? How you teaching that? Yo, I make it like dumb simple. Like dumb simple. Like the kid I had in yesterday, you know, helping him understand when he came in, he was working off the tee. And I was like, well, what were you trying to do there? Like, what are you doing? Oh, you know, when my foot does this, it does this, and it can do this. And so I understand that he understands a little bit about processes.
Yeah.
Like how to process. Okay, that's a good thing. I understand. Now I know that I can speak to him about that.
Yeah.
And one of the first things I like to communicate with guys, we're working because we're trying to figure out the right processes to make you successful. And everybody's processes are going to be different, right? Are we going to have some similarities? Quite possibly. But the process is going to be different. And so to help communicate that to them, this is how I explain it. I say, look, you know, if you were teaching me something, you're my coach, and I've never ever tied a shoe before, right? This is if guys don't have a process in place. I said, how would you teach me how to tie a shoe? Would you just throw a shoe in front of me and say, tie it up? And they always say no. I said, well, what would you teach me first thing? Oh, I would teach you how to pull it tight. Okay. So now this is what I'm going to be teaching you for the next 4 or 5 sessions. I'm going to show you process goals. That's what you just explained to me. Right? Because the big picture goal is to make sure that she was tied. For us as hitters, the big picture goal is to drive the ball in the gap on a line. Right? But we can't just get up to the plate and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It doesn't work that way. But what you told me before, you gave me a process goal. The first thing I have to be able to do, tie it tight. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is how your swing works. And the first session, nobody hits a move in baseball the first session with me. I don't give a damn if you're a professional hitter, high school, Little League, nobody does, because you're going to understand how all of your pieces work, and when something is going wrong, what piece we need to look at, and we're going to understand what processes are helping you stroke that ball consistently, so that next time we come in, we can build on those processes, right? But the only way you do that, just like what you said, is, you know, we got to speak. We got to be more effective with communication. We got to understand what language these guys speak, and you know what resonates with them, so that they can understand. Because if you can't understand your hitter, you can't communicate hitting.
Yeah, and I mean, this kind of goes back into the baseball culture that we're in today. Is, you know, I had Jason Ferber on the show the other day, man, and it was
Ferbs. That's my guy.
Frerbs is everybody's guy. You know, dude, that guy's an OG, dude. Like, I love that freaking guy. Anyways, man, he said something that definitely, like, I knew, but it just stuck out to me because he put it into context, and it was, you know, guys today, these kids today are overtrained and underdeveloped.
Oh my God, quit it!
Right?
Quit it!
I mean, we live in this baseball culture where it's like, you know, get in the gym, get jacked, get like all of this stuff, which is great. Like, I'm a meathead too, dude. But at the same time, we're losing sight on that process. We're losing sight on the mental game, like the routines, like whatever it is. we're so physically demanding right now, and I think it's getting misinterpreted along the way. Like, those are all great things to have, but don't lose sight on, the process of your pre-pitch routine, or the breath routine that you get into, or just whatever the littlest thing is. I think we're just getting away from it because we are so focused on the physical demandments of the game in 2019.
That's why guys are getting injured so fast. I 100% believe that. I 100% believe that. Dude, man, could go on for ages about it. I could go on for ages about it.
Oh, I love it, dude. How much time you got left?
Give me about 15. I got an appointment at 3, but I said I'm gonna push it back. So,
because I want to dive, and this could be like our last topic, dude. But I want to dive into data analytics and another kind of misinterpretation or misconception as far as data analytics, and I think especially as pitchers, we're seeing a lot more. To keep it in layman's terms, uppercutting swings and launch angle swings, and I think that's why it's no accident we're seeing strikeouts rates go up, and whatever, those guys are still getting paid. But in your opinion, man, like, is it appropriate to utilize what the data analytics are showing us? Are data analytics something that you use with your guys, or kind of where's your mindset with all that new age data analytics?
Woo! Boy, you got a loaded question on the table right now. I'm gonna put it like this: the way guys are teaching it right now, if I'm a pitcher, I'm licking my chops.
Oh, let's go.
I'm absolutely licking my chops without a doubt, right? Because it exposes so many holes. I think you're seeing guys uppercut and doing all this stuff, but the thing is, like, naturally, I don't feel a need to talk about launch angle and swinging up on a baseball because. From a physics state, that when you're going through the swinging process, nobody swings down. So why are we having this conversation?
Yeah.
For what? Like, why do I need to teach you how to do? Why am I teaching you how to do something that you're already doing naturally? See, this is what people misunderstand, because this idea came from Ted Williams. And if you guys are listening to this, if you haven't read The Science of Hitting, go read The Science of Hitting.
I'll link it in the show notes for everyone.
Oh, and that's perfect, because it talks about the mental side of it, and it's also going to address some of the physical side of it. What Ted Williams said in his book was not how people should swing. That's not what he said. He didn't say people should have a slightly uppercut swing. He said the swing is a slightly upward arc. He was stating what it is, because it's never changed. Now, people take that and they say, oh, well, I need to swing up. Now you make it even more extreme. Here's another thing that people don't understand. You will never, ever perfectly match the plane of a pitch. Right. Your bat and the plane of the pitch, they are two different arcs. Those are not the same degrees. All right? Right. But what will happen is that we can literally take the follow through, like the point of extension where both arms are fully extended, bat is fully extended, and typically, rule of thumb, if I'm fully extended to center field, that is the hardest place I should be able to hit the baseball, right? And if we reverse engineer that swing and literally bring it back, the ball is going to follow the arc of the bat, right? But that happens naturally. So the only thing I tell my guys to do, make sure you finish up when you swing. Because I can't tell them, okay, you need a 43-degree upward swing to ensure that you drive this ball. No, I can't do that.
Plug in this equation to this graphing calculator.
To the Pythagorean theorem of the square root of the degree. I can't do that.
I can't even spell that.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So what I tell them, look, finish high. Finish over your shoulder, right? That's what I like to teach a lot of my guys. And one thing that I'm noticing with guys swinging up, and what people are teaching, even more than that, what people don't realize, guys are pulling out even harder. Yeah. Because when you do try to take that approach, the shoulder just does something different. Like the front shoulder's flying out. My three. When I say three, I say two hitters. Two hitters that I love watching swing, right? Because the approach is so flawless, you don't know where to attack them.
Right.
You got Miguel Cabrera, which arguably has been the best hitter in the league for the last 10 years.
Right.
Plus. And then Nolan Arenado. Those are two guys. It's hard to find a hole. You can't find a hole. We're trying to teach guys how to swing like Aaron Judge. Yeah. But you got to understand, that's a totally different beast. There's certain things that a guy that's 5'8", 5'9" has to do that Aaron Judge just does not have to do.
Right.
Right? So, like, in particular, people are now starting to key his front leg, right? And having the front leg be stiff when it hits the ground. The front leg should not be stiff when it hits the ground. It should be flexed. Because if it's stiff, you can no longer use that leg to engage the front hip.
Yep.
When the front leg is flexed when it hits, as the front leg straightens out, it pulls the front hip back. And you create a torquing motion against the back hip. So it makes it more forceful. Aaron Judge don't need 2 hits to hit the ball out. Yeah. The guy's, 270, like 60, 70 pounds.
Yeah, stupid.
He's a monster. He could flip the bat and still drive the ball out. But when you look at his spray chart, there's a reason why there's a significant difference in how hard he hits the ball to the pull side as to how hard he hits the ball backside. Same thing about Giancarlo Stanton. Same thing.
Dude, it's funny, man. Like you're talking about the actual mechanics, and I completely can just visualize what that looks like, dude. Because when I work with my clients on, optimizing a mechanical, delivery, and it's funny because I too, like, I don't want to be the quote unquote mechanics guy, right? But I think there's a lot of things that we can look for to optimize those, and one of those things is exactly what you said in the hitting. I kind of, my terminology with it is the catapult system, right? Everyone gets so big on the C when people are when a pitcher's at ball release, and you see the pictures of Verlander, who is just stupid optimal, but he's got that extension in that front leg; it's almost locking out, and he's releasing the ball. And I almost say, like, when you come down to front foot strike and you are already locked out, that transfer is going to be inefficient. You're not going to be able to get that backside energy that you've always built up from the ground. You can't transfer it fully if you're already landing stiff. So my thing is, I don't care how hard that front foot comes down or how soft. It's about where is that knee positioning, because then we can get to that catapult by obviously this is where the verbiage comes in, because it's another one of those things that could be misinterpreted, but you're catapulting the energy from the front, or the back to the front, and you need to do that when you come to the front foot strike, or else it's going to be inefficient. And it's funny how they relate to hitting too. Absolutely.
The funny thing about this is, man, people think that I'm teaching something crazy. I'm not teaching something crazy. I keep it dumb simple. Right? And when I say dumb simple, here's just like what you said. Only thing I teach is efficient energy output. That is it. That is it. Right? So while everybody's talking about rotation, I know for a fact, that having hitters only focus on rotation is not putting them at an advantage. It's putting them at a disadvantage. Yeah, it's hitting a rotational act. Absolutely. Am I a big advocate for rotation? Absolutely. That's one of the first things I teach my guys. But what we're doing is that we are initiating action through rotation. The ball is coming in on a straight line. We have a limited amount of space to work with. The foul lines, right? We got to keep the ball in between the foul lines. We have to take this rotational energy and somehow transfer it into lateral energy. We got to get the bat to move straight through the zone while the body is rotating through the zone. Now, the crazy thing about it is people look at it and say, well, the bat doesn't move straight through the zone. Not with the naked eye, it doesn't. And not the whole time it doesn't. But when you look at extension, it's a very, very fine split second in time where you look at that back elbow and that punch that's coming from the side. When that is extending, as we make contact, that's when the bat is moving straight through. So for me, I teach my guys how to rotate, but I teach them how to maximize how to get that bat through as straight as possible. Right? So, man, it's hard to do it. It's hard because I can't show it.
I know. We gotta
But I want the barrel to move straight through the ball. I don't want it to rotate, because that's when we start to get around That's when we can't keep balls true. We can't keep them fair, right? That's when we topspin baseballs. That's why I don't preach this, get the barrel on his own. No, let's get to the baseball. Let's stay through the ball as long as possible. It'll keep the barrel on his own a lot longer. Yeah,
there was a couple posts that you had. It was like the lateral or rotational hitter and the similarities obviously being both. Not many people understand that. They think, it's the same thing with pitching, directional or rotational, right? Like, do you gain ground or do you rotate? You're doing the same thing. And then the other one, I think you literally just hammered it home, was maximizing your barrel energy. I love
That's what we're trying to do.
100%.
That's really what it boils down to. And so when you understand how the pieces work, you do it that way. But here's what I don't want people to do, because everybody, they interpret things, they hear things how they want. Oh, he says that what else, analytics have no place in baseball. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they're great to look at, right? They're great to assess. But at the end of the day, I don't have all those analytics when I'm in the cage, when I'm working off the tee, when I'm working in BP. Only thing I got is result. And what I feel is not always what happens. So I got to be able to connect mind and body, not what you see on paper. That's the difference.
Mind-body connection. That was another Ferber quote for you. Brain-body connection, dude.
Oh, man.
Guy's a G.
He probably got it from me.
Hey, he didn't source you, dude. So you gotta holler at him on that one.
I ain't gonna do for him like that. He did, man.
Oh man, I love it, dude. I know I gotta let you go, man. But hey, thank you so much for coming on the show today, man. And I'll sign you off the air. But make sure for those of you who are listening to go check Raphael out on Instagram at @thathittingguy. Bro, appreciate your time, dude.
No problem, man. I put something in my story just now. Let people know more. Hopefully, it can get you some more traction. I'll put up a post too. I appreciate your time, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I appreciate that.
All right, man. Cool. Let me go to it.
Yes, sir. We'll holler at you later.
Yeah.
All right, later, brother. All right, guys. Another episode of the Robby Row Show. That'll conclude the entirety of the episode with Raphael Turner. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to part 2. Hope you guys got to listen to part 1 as well. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, I know I kind of sound like a broken record sometimes when I refer to you leaving a review or 5-star thingy on the podcast app you're listening to. But I found out now that I'm dabbling more into really doing this podcast thing, apparently there's some sort of algorithm that iTunes does that the more reviews you get, the better opportunity that it has of reaching a wider audience. So my thing is, the whole reason that this show started was to reach those unreached people as far as the information goes, right? So it's a perfect correlation to what Raphael talked about in the part 1 episode, was he didn't know, he didn't know a lot of things. So that's why it's so cool to have this podcast, because I can inform a lot of people and set them up for as much success as really they want. So it does me a huge favor, and it does those that haven't heard this podcast a huge favor as well, as if you just, leave a review, let me know how you liked it, and goes a long way. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, your boy's out. See ya.